The authors are in the writing room with us.
Yeah.
Which we keep joking about is you should never do, but in this case they're amazing and
they're awesome. You have their blessing.
Absolutely, and from the beginning they said we understand, we have the books, that's our, and we understand now it's going to a different medium and things are going to change and we're fine with that. If we can help you, we're here, and so we knew right away they were going to be great, and they've been fantastic.
David Howe said that this is the most ambitious show they've ever done.
Yeah.
That would include Battlestar Galactica, and you've been compared to Game of Thrones.
That's a nice comparison, which we encourage wholeheartedly.
So a lot to live up to.
Yeah.
In what way do you think it's the most ambitious?
Well, just the scope of it. I mean, the books deal with space travel, but from a very realistic perspective. To accelerate, has crushing, obviously, effects on the body, etc. And so that zero gravity. I mean, just the ships. We had 80,000 square feet of studio space in Toronto where we filmed at Pinewood, and we filled that. Which it was even from a physical production standpoint, it was very demanding. Every time you do zero gravity with people on wires, you're suddenly, you're not going into redecorating a police station and shooting in it.
Right.
So, I mean, everything. What does a ship look like? Why would functionality, all those kind of things. So, yeah, it was all hands on deck from all the way down to construction to top. So it was a hefty production.
Yeah, and we're tackling a bunch of new worlds. It's not really, we're not relying on we have the books, but they're not like things we can shorthand because everybody knows them from previous movies. We got to create a new Earth. Where are we at in a couple of hundred years? What's the environment like? What's the government like? We're out in space, like the whole commerce and ice hauling. And we're on asteroid stations. What's the deal there? Belters have been a new race of people. Belters have sort of come out of the effects of gravity on the human body, how the body would elongate and change. So you're setting up all these new rules, all these new worlds. You're on Earth, you're across the solar system, you're on Mars, you're here, so the canvas of it is very Game of Thrones in the sense that a lot of stories are thrown into motion, and they're all really one story, you just don't know all the pieces. But part of the joy of that show and shows like it, and we'd love to bring to this, is how you have to wait and see how it all becomes one story. It's really fun to watch the threads start connecting and the pieces start coming together. I love a slow burn.
Even it goes down to simple, things like a phone. What does a phone look like 200 years from now?
Yeah.
That's a whole long discussion because. What is it?
So how do you condense the world building from the series and build up your own world building as well? What's that blend like? Was that difficult?
You have to pick what's important, because the guys, when they wrote the books, were like, everyone's like, where's all the tech? Where's all the cool tech? And they're like, you get on a ship and it knows you can speak to it. Like, there's tech everywhere and it's really advanced. It's just not, they think the people are way more interesting than the tech, so they don't talk about it. But, as our co-showrunner has said a bunch of times, you don't get into your car and say, what a fantastic driving machine.
I'm going to turn it on.
You get in and you go, and what's interesting is who's that person, where are they going? But so the guys have treated tech like, we'll talk about it when it's interesting to the story, when it's really, it's embedded in everything. It's there, it's ubiquitous, but it's not as interesting as the people. So we're not going to waste a lot of time talking about how the ships are all watching your every motion and reading your voice and intuiting what you want. And we're not going to spend a lot of time on that because it's cool and it's there.
That's why we actually even got involved in this to begin with. Is picking up the book and realizing it was about people. And it wasn't about tech, because so much of the stuff we've read in the past is really just been it's sort of tech porn. Everything that gets lost in the technology, or there's morphs fighting orbs, and you can't relate to it.
So, you were talking about having a set built. Did you go into it kind of wanting to stick with the physical sets and trying to do that as much as possible?
Yeah, as much as possible, because doing the green, we did some blue screen, green screen stuff, and but for the actors, it's so much better to be in a space and to have a set that's real, and so as much as we could, and it's a lot of it.
I don't think anyone cares. Like everybody knows we're watching CGI now, but they don't mind. Like it's part of the vocabulary now, but still.
It doesn't look. Your brain knows.
Right.
You know what?
Your brain
You're
knows,
right.
exactly.
Yeah, and I think even when it's done really, really well, you're right. That suspension of disbelief. There's some, the eye is so
Just
finicky with.
you lose a little bit of that kind of leaf belief. That's why I love the work with John Favreau. I know J.J. Abrams is going to do a lot of Star Wars practical like that. There's a difference, and I think some blend of the two, but as much as possible, that real people walking through real environments is the way to go.
To be honest, I feel like that's kind of where sci-fi is going back to again now, which is nice.
Yeah.
So
I heard
I'm
they shot
really...
The Martian all on Mars, which is. Is that not true?
Maybe.
Never been snow.
No, we're psyched about that trend. It makes the story. You just get more invested, and that little twinge in the back of your brain, CGI, that goes off, and you can't.
It's like a little bit like seeing the boom in the shot. You go, oh, there's a guy holding a boom. So the camera's over there, and you fall right out of it.
Yeah.
And it's used. It tends to get overused as well. You get these fantastic shots where you go, wow, that is an incredible shot, but you're out of the story because you're caught up in the.
That's sad. A few years ago, I remember Bonnie Hunter saying she doesn't want a space opera. And now
She's got one now.
She's got one.
Shows is it a good thing?
I
think so. Yeah, done well. Just remarking, that when things tend to go wrong on Earth, or the way the planet's kind of tearing itself apart, people start looking elsewhere. Like, hey, maybe we can start again somewhere. And so maybe that's a reflection of why we have all these shows coming up. But I think
it's like in Star Wars, Star Trek was big in the '60s, and it was all that mythical stuff.
exactly. Yeah.
Maybe,
Yeah.